The Los Angeles Lakers have intensified their pursuit of Miami Heat star Andrew Wiggins as training camp approaches, according to Forbes' Evan Sidery. Los Angeles is very open to moving former first-round pick Dalton Knecht alongside the necessary expiring salary. Miami wants a future first-round pick attached in the package, Sidery wrote on X Saturday. The renewed discussions follow NBA insider Mark Stein's report identifying Wiggins as a target for the Lakers after Luka Doncic committed to a long-term deal with the team. League sources say LA would indeed have interest in adding a two-way swingman who can raise their ceiling, Stein wrote in his The Stein Line newsletter on September 8th. The sort of player who is likely to interest the Lakers? My read, if Miami were to make him available, Andrew Wiggins. Previous talks stalled over high price. Earlier in the offseason, exploratory talks on a Wiggins-Rui Hachimura swap broke down, Anthony Irwin of Clutch Points reported. One story, and the one that I heard more directly, was that the Miami Heat were asking for Rui Hachimura, Irwin said on the September 8th episode of his podcast The Lakers Lounge. They were asking for a first-round pick, Gabe Vincent, and potentially Dalton Knecht. The Lakers would probably be fine moving off Dalton or Vincent for Wiggins and maybe even Rui, but they definitely did not want to include Rui and the first-round pick together. That's where the talks broke down. Draft capital limits Lakers' flexibility. Currently, the Lakers hold limited draft assets, one tradable first-round pick, 2031 or 2032, and a 2032 second-round pick. Another first-rounder will become available next offseason, potentially increasing flexibility. Owen stressed that the Lakers' best-case scenario would be acquiring Wiggins without giving up Hachimura or their first-round pick. Ideally, the Lakers find a way to move Maxi Kleber's contract, Gabe Vincent's contract, and Dalton Knecht's contract, maybe with another minimum-type deal, Irwin said. From a basketball standpoint, that's the best outcome. You don't want to trade away your sixth-best player when you're on the outside looking in at the true contenders. Wiggins could elevate Lakers to elite tier. A two-way wing like Wiggins would complement the Lakers' core of LeBron James, Doncic, Austin Reeves, Marcus Smart, and Hachimura. Jovan Buha said the move could immediately elevate Los Angeles into the Western Conference's elite tier. The Lakers, with the right move, can vault themselves up to the Tier 1 of NBA title teams and have a legit chance to win a championship, Buha said on the September 9th episode of his podcast. If the Lakers were to get Andrew Wiggins, or a player of that ilk, a two-way wing who can guard multiple positions, including backcourt players and wings, and take that burden off LeBron, Luka, Austin, and Rui, that's the ideal complement to Marcus Smart and Rui Hachimura. Buha echoed Irwin's assessment that acquiring Wiggins while retaining Hachimura would strengthen both the Lakers' first and second units. Will the renewed talks finally result in a blockbuster trade to boost the Lakers' title hopes? The simple and properly accurate read on the Miami Heat is that they need to find a superstar to gain entry into the NBA's elite tier. How, and when they find one, though, is a much more complicated question. While they've kept their options open for future free agency pursuits, that's becoming a decreasingly viable strategy for snagging a star. And even if top-tier talent started hitting the open market again, there's hardly a guarantee they'd buy what the Heat have to sell. The Heat could, of course, try turning to the trade market, especially if Giannis Antetokounmpo ever wanted out of Milwaukee, but they aren't exactly flush with assets and are relying on the players other teams would seek out. This is all a long-winded way of saying Miami's external options of finding a superstar are limited. Or maybe non-existent, at least for the foreseeable future. Contrary to popular belief, though, that doesn't have to be the death knell sounding on the franchise's dreams. The Heat might just have to take this search internal. Miami's hopes of adding a star might need to be handled in-house. For glass-overflowing optimists who see sleeper potential in this team, this roster is sneakily stacked. There may not be a superstar in its ranks just yet, but there are more than a few players offering that type of potential. Granted, their superstar upside is of the everything-must-break exactly right variety, but that's still different from being hopeless. For instance, Bam Adebayo is already an elite defender, so an admittedly long-waited, offensive leap could push him into the hoops world's upper class. I wouldn't suggest Tyler Herro has similar hopes of two-way stardom, but there's a universe in which his on-ball potency perks up to the point that his scoring, net shredding, and playmaking alone give him an elite-level impact. Trickle down to the young core, and you might find even higher ceilings, albeit without the same elevated floors. Nikola Jovic is already a 6 feet 10 inches perimeter marksman, but his ball skills could make him anything from a jumbo playmaker to a nightmare matchup scorer. Kal-El Ware's blend of shot blocking and floor spacing already give him a unique and coveted archetype, and that's without even seeing the strides he'll make as a scorer. Kasparas Jakushionis could give this group exactly what it needs if he puts a shaky summer behind him and better taps into his massive potential as a shot creator. Are all of these players poised to reach the highest heights of their scaling? Almost certainly not. If even one breaks out in that fashion, though, everything immediately changes for the Heat. Suddenly, they're not scouring through a shallow free agent pool in hopes of finding a savior or hoping the next disgruntled star decides they want to single-handedly steer this organization. Instead, they're in the market for potential finishers, whether that's a second star to complement the homegrown elite or star role players who support the incumbent foundation. It's a long shot, to be clear, but as the Heat are learning, it might already be more promising than free agency, and it could offer up a solution a lot sooner than the trade market would. The Los Angeles Lakers have made some notable additions to their roster this offseason, and they could potentially be making another in the coming weeks. NBA insider Evan Sidery reports that the Lakers and the Miami Heat have resumed discussions over an Andrew Wiggins trade. The Heat and Lakers have reopened discussions on a potential Andrew Wiggins trade ahead of training camp. Los Angeles is very open to moving former first-round pick Dalton Knecht alongside necessary expiring salary. Miami wants a future first-round pick attached in the package. Wiggins averaged 18.0 points for 0.5 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 1.0 steals, and 0.8 blocks for the Heat and Golden State Warriors in 2024-25. The 30-year-old is the kind of two-way wing you want next to Luka Doncic, and he'd be a solid addition to the team. The Athletic's Dan Woik reported that the Lakers weren't interested in Wiggins earlier this summer, but he is now a more desirable player. Doncic's signing a 3-year, $165 million extension has led to the front office being willing to be a bit more aggressive, but they are only making a deal if the price is right. Sidery states that the Lakers are willing to give up Dalton Knecht and players on expiring contracts for Wiggins. Knecht's stint with the Lakers had already seemed over last season, when he was sent to the Charlotte Hornets as part of the package for Mark Williams. The Lakers later rescinded the Williams trade due to health concerns, and Knecht was back on the team. He failed to gain head coach J.J. Redick's trust, however, barely featuring in the first-round series loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Knecht, the 17th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, finished his rookie season with averages of 9.1 points, 2.8 rebounds, 0.8 assists, 0.3 steals, and 0.1 blocks per game. The 24-year-old sharpshooter looked to be untouchable in trade talks at the start of last season, but is now very much available. As for the players on expiring contracts, they'd be Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, and Maxi Kleber. You'd imagine the Lakers would like to hold on to Hachimura, but he's a far more desirable asset compared to Vincent and Kleber. It was reported earlier in the offseason that the Heat indeed wanted Hachimura, Knecht, and a first-round pick. That first-round pick is something the Lakers aren't putting on the table just yet. With Wiggins not pushing for a trade, though, you'd think this deal won't go through unless the Heat get that pick, but time will tell. The Lakers' pursuit of Wiggins does show that they realize there's a need for another quality wing defender. Defense is certainly the biggest weakness for this team, and the front office addressed it to an extent this summer. The Lakers signed DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Jake LaRavia in free agency, and selected Adou Thiero in the draft. Smart, the 2022 DPOY, is the best defender of this bunch, but has struggled to stay healthy. Ayton and LaRavia, meanwhile, aren't slouches defensively, but they aren't terrific on that end of the floor by any stretch. As for Thiero, he certainly has the potential to be a very good defender in the NBA, but he's unlikely to make much of an impact as a rookie. So, further roster upgrades are needed. The Lakers have to figure out a way to land Wiggins or a player of that profile if they are to become one of the top contenders in the West next season.